And welcome to the Hawkeye session. This is Friday, non-farm payroll Friday. So be very careful with your trades today, especially around 8:30. That's when the non-farm payroll report comes out. I would keep your powder dry until then. Here's a disclaimer. Trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendation will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies the rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. Having said that, we'll go to the charts. And this is Open Mic Friday. And let's see, right. And so if you have, we have the last trade we saw on the board was in New Zealand USD trade. That happened right around 7:15. It didn't take very long for it to break from the alert. The break was pretty much, I had it right here, right around the 67.86 level. And actually that thing is still, it already hit the target. The question is if you want to see if it's going to continue, there's a good chance it's going to come down here and test this blue 30-minute 62 moving average. It has penetrated the 1562, and it's did a pass. It's checking now, starting to recheck this thing, and you can see the RSIs are still, they're still kind of in the middle of the zones right now, but we'll see what happens here. You have a nice strong little move down. There's a little flag pattern. It could possibly make another run, and I would be looking at it with the Fibonacci tools that we use for the extension. I'd be looking at perhaps this section right here like this, with a target coming down here to the 68 or 78 to 100. And you can also see that's right down here by the 62. So that could be a very strong potential for it to get all the way down to the 30-minute 62 for a target if it decides to break this little wedge that we're drawing to see how deep it goes into the retracement. The higher it goes, the further away from the 62 it's going to be, but we'll see how this thing could retrace. This would be a 78 retracement. If it comes up to the 5-minute 62, I'll put that right in the middle. It'll be between a 78 and a 1-to-1 retracement. So that's pretty strong. This could be a rather strong pullback. So I'd be really careful. I would not take anything until after 8:30 before the report comes out. Okay, having said that, let's just see if there's any new alerts coming in. We didn't have any that I'm seeing. Let's see. I have to reboot my AIRIS notification schedule here. Anybody have any alerts since 7:15 this morning?
No, I haven't.
Okay, no, I got nothing.
So nothing new. Okay.
Nope.
So is there anybody in the room? Do they have any questions, comments? We can go over how I think Matt drew this one a little bit differently than I did. I'm just going to take this one from the start. I'm going to erase everything. I'm going to take off all my moving averages, start with a clean slate. And it was an ascending wedge at 7:15. So we're just going to do this one right from the beginning here, the way I drew it. Here's 7:15. And what I'm beginning to start looking at very closely is the last 15-minute candle prior to where the alert was, because that's really where we're looking. When the alerts seem to be breaking, right, the prices seem to be breaking right about the time when the alert is generated. And then a lot of times you just can't get in time. So I'm kind of looking at this little candle right here in the middle, but it was an ascending wedge. So I'm going to be looking to see if I can find 3 points that would be where I can get a trend with 3 hits. I'm going to start looking at this one here. This is the daybreak. So this is the whole area of today's activity right now. Here's the day low, the overnight low. Here's the overnight high. So I'm just going to start from that area.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
Christine telling us that we just got an alert.
Oh.
British pound US, but descending.
Okay, let's take a look at that one. British pound US descending. Okay, let's start with a fresh screen, 15 minute. And that was at what time was it? 8:15?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock?
Yeah. Descending.
8 o'clock descending. So we're looking at here's a high, here's a little bit lower high. It's not going to be descending. Okay, I'm going to be looking at the pivot high, the high for the overnight high and the overnight low. I'm going to be using that for my initial reference. And I'm going to start with it was descending. So I'm going to start up here. This is the highest point. Here's the lowest point. Here's the next highest point. And here's the tuck it in close by. So here's the wedge that I'd be looking at. I'm also going to be looking to see what happens in this little area right in here with this. This is actually a fairly strong move down. It's got a little bit of a flag pattern right here. So I'm going to be looking at this. Let's see. I'm going to take it over just a little bit closer. Let me go to a 1 minute chart and see if we can tuck that in a little bit more. And we got this down here. This is the low. Let me slide this one over a little bit. Now we did have this nice little slope coming down. There's a nice little move coming down from the overnight high. It's sort of flattening out here a little bit, but you do see another little secondary wedge coming in. There's a bit of a flat top, and we have this little wedge coming in that way. So let's take a look at this area. We have the bigger wedge, which is, I'll change the color one out here in a minute. Here's a low, here's a high. Here's the low before move this over here. Now this one looks like this has got a little bit of an upward slope to this one. I'm going to change this color here, just to offset it from the higher time frame. Make that one purple. This make it a little bit brighter. Let's see how we're going to do this. I'll make that one. I'll just keep that one orange, and I'll make the other one white. How's that? So, and then we had here was the alert. It came all the way down. So right now it's trading somewhat inside this wedge. I'm going to be looking to see if it breaks the top to the upside. Right now, the range inside this is pretty much from, I'll go from like the D to the point below the D. That's about is that 13 pip British pound? I got to change this zone here. Hang on a second. We got to change this symbol. Change. Somehow I lost my. Okay, we got four digits now. That's better. Okay, so range from the D to, I'm going to put it right down below where the D is, get a range about where this thickness of the wedge is. That's 16 pips. It's not too bad. If we draw a stick, get the stick coming in, hit straight top, then I go and take it from the low, I'm going to take it right from the bottom of this slope right here to the top of the D. And if it breaks to the top, this would be, if we get a close above the top, we're looking at this area right up here. This would be the target. If you look and see the top of this, we're looking at this being the target. What kind of strength do we have on this? USD. See, British USD. British USD. How's it looking to you, Matt?
I am. Oh, excuse me, my voice. I'm still actually looking at Kiwi US for now.
Oh, okay. You're
So I'm
preoccupied
kind
with
of,
that one.
yeah, I'm just watching this for a little bit.
I think if this thing breaks, I think this might be a reasonable trade to take here if we get the break. I'm going to be looking for a 2-pip break above, so I'm going to put a slope on here. I'm going to move it up 2 pips, so that's going to be at 31.28 to 38.20, 31.30, right about there. That's going to be a enter to buy area. Pretty much came right up into that zone, could not close. So now we have to see what's going to happen here. Is it going to be pullback? So right now there's no trade. We do have some. This was a nice little strong move to the downside. This may be one of those where it comes down, pulls back a little bit. Here's a little bit of a flag pattern from a higher time frame, and it could come back down and retest this 30, which is a very strong possibility. So we got a little break of the wedge, couldn't close above it, no trade. Now we're looking to see if it comes out of the bottom. And we have a pivot here. So this is the low. This one hasn't been right here. So we have this area right in here. If it breaks to the bottom, we're going to duplicate the stick here. We're going to move it down to. Actually, let me do this way. I'll show you how we measure the stick again. I had it from the right below where the D was, bring it up to snap it to the top of the D, and then we take this and move it down below the wedge and see if it comes down. So this would be the range. This would be the target area. If it does break, this would be the target we'd be looking at somewhere up in this area, which kind of aligns right with this little red candle, the top of this red candle. So I'm going to mark this as the initial target. Call it target 1 to the upside. And right now I'm looking at, it seems like it has a lot of potential to go to the upside more so than the downside. Our RSIs are strong, and our RCS tool on the 1 minute showing British pound strength, and it's showing it straight. Let me see what it has on the 15-minute. Now this thing is showing that the U.S. dollar and the British pound are right about neck and neck, right about in the middle of the of the currencies. It does show favoring strength to the British pound. I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a 3-point spread on this before I would take this trade. There are some other factors that may help play into it, but for right now, from what I'm seeing, this may not be a good trade to take to the upside. In fact, we're coming so close to the non-farm payroll report, it's going to have a lot of effect on the U.S. dollar. So I say at this point in time, just keep your powder dry. Wait 15 minutes before the non-farm payroll. It may go and just break. I mean, a lot of times you're going to get a strong move, but you don't always know what direction it's going to go. It's not unusual for you to get a strong move to the upside, only to get everybody in, take out their stops, come back in, take out their stops, and then make a big move. But unless you have a entry target and a take profit target, if you're in the trade, you're just really just gambling. So I would just say to stay out of this one for right now. Let's go back to then we'll take a look at the Kiwi, see how that one's playing out. And Matt, what do you see on this one?
This one, looking, all right. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at it going short. It's come back up. It's forming a wedge on the lower time frames, and I'm just trying to make that or observe it. I don't want to let it go too far against me. Right now, I'm in about 5-6 pips of drawdown, and that's because I had my fill wasn't great. my entry on it wasn't as ideal as I would have preferred, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Here's where the wedge. Here's where the wedge started. We had a nice little, and we were drawing this wedge. Let me go and finish drawing this one. We have a nice little slope coming down. So I'm going to look at this as being a trend that's starting to develop. I'm going to use this as my higher time frame trend line. So this one is not confirmed. Now I'm on a 1 minute chart, but the trend's still the same. And here is where the alert came in, and we had the break of this candle. This was the bottom of this one was a descending wedge, I believe this one was. No, let's see, what was that? Someone help me out here. Is that the descending or ascending wedge?
Which one? The New Zealand?
The New Zealand.
Kiwi.
There we go. I'm seeing it. Oh, we have a Swiss one too now.
Ascending.
Ascending. And that was at what time was 7:15 this morning?
7:15.
Yeah.
Let me go back over to my 15-minute chart here to draw this one out. And so this one's already out of the chute, but we'll see what we had here. It was 7:15. So this was the previous 15-minute candle right in here. Since it's already out, I'm going to use this for a little bit of reference to where I draw my wedge. Pretty much came right up to, this is the peak that we were referencing. There was a little secondary, it was ascending. So I'm going to be looking at, here is a rally, base, rally, came back and retested this base. So I'm going to be looking at where the bottom of the base was. So I'm going to draw another wedge. I'm going to take it from here. It's ascending, so I'm going to come up the color here, tuck it in right down below to where the alert was, tuck it up in here. And here was the break of this trend line here. Now this was only a 2-point trend, so it's not really much of a
yeah, I didn't trust the upper
I really kind of like this
line very much.
I really kind of like this area right here. We had this rally. Here's the base, and taking this out. This is really more what I would like to see as far as, because I wanted to see a break below this A. You can see it didn't take very long, within just a few minutes of the alert. Let's see if I can pull this. You see in a few minutes below the alert, we had the break of this zone right here. And we had so it came out, actually, it broke this first box up top here, right where the alert was, came down, broke down, came back, retested it from this A to the C area, came back, broke it, came back, retested. This was the entry right in here. If I were to draw this as do the replay on this one. And we're on the 1 minute chart. So we had, here was the alert. Here was the range of the points just before the alert. Here's a 1 minute candle, came down, broke. And let's see, then we go, as we play this thing, came back up in the wedge. There's the first break. There's the second break. Comes back up, retest it. Here's the entry right here. Do a sell stop right under this point, right under this red candle. We had 2 candles down, came back up, blue candle, started to form another little wedge. And then you try and get in pretty much right at the, I would say right at the bottom of the blue candle. The blue candle comes back and gets closed, and we should be on our way. It's coming out to retest this area, the A, which is going to be right down there. Now you have to be able to get through that, but this would be the entry. This would be aggressive, but you also see your RSIs are all the way down low. It's kind of pull back a little bit, but if it pulls back and it hooks back in again, then you have a good move. Came back, testing the wedge. There's our entry. You're now in the trade. And you also see, if you look up here, you see where the moving averages have flipped over. We have you have the full consolidation of the 62, the 13, and the 5. They flipped up here inside the wedge, came down, broke it. Now you have everything trending in the right direction on the 1 minute, and they were all trending in the same direction on the 5 and the 15. Actually, the 15 had a target down below. But more importantly is you're going to have the 62. This 30-minute 62 is down here, and it's going to be starting to head towards that. You follow it down. Now you can just put your stop. Just sort of follow the stop up along the 62 up here.
This will probably be the end of the retracement, the pullback here that we've been experiencing for the last little bit. This might be the end of that. I don't anticipate it going much higher than where it's at right now.
Okay, I'll try and catch up with you here in just a second.
Oh no, you're fine.
Enter to sell. So we have the sell entry right here. Came back down, pulled back a little. It broke, came back up. Try and catch the zone. Get into the trade. Pulls back, tests you a little bit. Still testing the wedge, and then it's breaking, and now it's just. And you can see that you can just start following it with as long as the green doesn't cross back over the yellow, these are just pullbacks. And you see it, if you look here, it did not cross. It came back up, tagged it, but then it gave it up again. And now
as I speak, it comes against me. I just said that it's not going to go much higher, and it just did. So, we'll see what happens.
That's what happens sometimes. But so if you look at the Fibonacci retracement on this, we have take this up to the D area, bring this up to where it broke, bring this up to the high to where it came back and retested, and here's your target. Here's your first target right in this area. This is the bottom of the major wedge, broke that, came back down, and that was your winning trade right there. If you look at the pip value of this from the entry to down here, that's 14 pips. That's about as good as you're going to get on the first run. It should probably bounce off of that and probably pull back, and there it did. Came back, retested this wedge, the bottom. This is the bigger, higher time frame from all the way over here. I retested that one. Came back up, retest. Here's another little. You already hit your target. Now what I'll do is I'll move this thing down to the next level. Start with the top. There's the high. This is a strong move down. Here's the retracement. Next target would be somewhere down around into the 70 in this area. And you also see that you have the 30-minute 62 sitting right here. There's your target zone. Input, and we look for a target. Move this out of the way, see if we can reach it. Comes back down, there's a retest. Pulls back. Okay, now that in fact it's pulled back a little bit higher, we have to readjust this. Take it over here. Yes.
Can I just ask a quick question? Just about the RCS?
No, you're not allowed to. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm asking anyway.
Go ahead.
Your RCS says New Zealand 3, US 0 on the 1 minute chart.
Yes.
Mine says, okay, well now mine flipped too, but for the longest time, mine was saying the complete opposite of yours. And
this is on the replay, remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's gone back in time. He's kind of wants to relive the past a little bit.
All right, phew. I was starting to think, have I got the wrong settings going on?
No, you're good.
Sometimes that does happen if you put the wrong time frame in the tool. So instead of 2 minutes, if you decide to put like 5 minutes or an hour, then it could read differently.
Yeah, well, at least I've confirmed now that I do still have the same settings as you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Now, one thing I don't like about this right now, off of this, we hit our target already. Is coming back now. My first thought was it was going to come back here and go on back down to retest. However, what's happening is it's either it's going to be either strong, it's either going to turn around, or this is just be a really strong pullback, which means that and the fact that it's more than right now we're sitting right at a 61% pullback, which is still okay for a strong reversal. However, it's a little bit deeper than I would like to see for a continuation of the trend. This is starting to give more signs of it's more of a retest of this move down to maybe go to the upside as opposed to breaking out to go into the downside. But we'll see where this thing goes. Right now, it's pullback. We have the turnover of the 5 and the 13 coming up. It's retesting the 62, which if you didn't take your profit, you'd probably be looking at getting stopped out right about up here. You still would have been okay because you still would have made a few pips from your entry, which is up here at the 67.85. Let's just see what happens now. Came back, test the 62. Now if we get the green and the yellow, if it flips again, then maybe we can start looking at our target being, so target is now all the way up here. And let's see what happens. Now we have the green came in, it tagged the yellow, couldn't quite hook up. Now we're getting another run to the upside. Still not a short yet. Looks like this is starting to look more like a reversal to me. Now we have as we drew this line, we have a little bit of a wedge here that we're drawing. We're just following this trend line. And you can use this tool as the same thing. Just bring it on close in, bring it up to the top, and you have a nice 45-degree angle. Here's a near hit. But if it comes and breaks through this, especially if it breaks through this 0.236 line, this blue line, you might actually have a trade because that's going to be breaking the wedge at the same time and maybe to give you another chance to retest this area. And that's where we are right now. It's the end of story. So
yeah, that's the story.
That's the story. And actually, right now we're at 2 minutes before the non-farm payroll report. Let's take a look
Get ready
and see what happens here. So I'm going to mark the. This is a range where see how it's basing right here. It came up and it's really kind of going sideways. Let's draw a box around that and just see how much it breaks out of that range if we get the report. Let's use this. We use this slide with this high, and we'll see where it goes from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this extension tool. This is always fun just to see how this thing moves. Draw this extension and see if it comes up. I'm going to draw it this way so we have the. Let's see if we can find a higher time frame.
Got 1 minute.
I gotta be quick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to come and check out this area. I'm going to go with this range right in here. And I'm going to go with this one to the upside.
Let's see. I still think we're going down, Al. I've got something that's confirming, but we'll see what happens. I'm curious.
So there's a supply zone. Here's the demand
Here we go.
zone.
8:30. I'm not watching this on the 1 minute because I get freaked out. It's too fast. I'll let it sit on the 5 for now. Analysis is done, setup's done, and we'll just see what happens.
Make sure I'm not in any trades anywhere. Okay, I'm good.
I'm in the New Zealand.
Yeah, you're short still?
Yeah. See what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And New Zealand may not be the one that's going to. Actually, the Euro US might be the bigger
Yeah, well, Euro
especially for the
US right
dollar.
now, it took a lot of swings in the last 2 days.
There's 1 minute. So this is like a snoozer right now.
Yep. Let's see.
This is the British pound. I say this, but see how the British pound does. Let's take everything off of here. Looks like a non-event.
Don't
Wouldn't
speak
go
too
that far.
soon. It's only been a minute. It's only been a minute.
Well, you usually get more of a move before, in that first minute. You usually get.
That's very true.
A lot of times you
That's
see a
very
lot of
true.
movement
50
just
to
before that.
100 pips sometimes.
Well, I was looking at the US Swiss,
Yeah.
and it kind of had a big candle down, broke out
Yeah.
the bottom, and then all of a sudden, bang! It went right up, and it's right back in the zone where it started from.
Well, the Kiwi US tends to move later, like a couple minutes after the other currency pairs. It's weird.
That's because they're all in bed right now.
Yeah.
No, this one is. I mean, this really has. I'm
Didn't even move.
No, it's only like, and that's.
Well, it's the election, right? A lot of people are not willing to stake their. Smart money is safe money, and sometimes right now, if the setup's not right, then with all the unknowns of Biden, Trump, and fraud, and months of calculations, and like no one wants to mess around with that.
Yeah. British pound is dropping.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good sign for the other for Kiwi then, because that's to the U.S. Weakness.
I think the more important thing is to see what the RCS tool is doing. Let me get this thing opened up here. So we have Swiss is strong here. Swiss is strong. The neutral currency is strong all the way across the board, just about. Swiss being the more neutral currency, but the dollar is showing weakness on the 4-hour, middle range. It's all kind of all over the place right now. But we did have a U.S. Swiss alert earlier before this announcement.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the U.S. Swiss. Swiss.
Yeah, I'll continue to give updates on the Kiwi US since I'm swimming in that one for now.
So we had the alert. Where was the alert on this one? U.S. Swiss was at 8:15 descending. 8:15.
8:15. Yeah.
Decent. You can see this thing sloping on down. So I would be looking at, here's the overnight high. We're at the overnight. Well, basically the overnight low was probably right around here at 6 o'clock. But I'm going to look at this for the descending trend line. I'm just going to put a regular trend line on this. Anchor, here's a hit, not confirmed. And actually you can see that we have some, let's see. I'm going to use this pivot low and just see how this works out with the wedge. Right now it seems to be more of in a channel. So here's the channel that's in. Here's the, this is as low as it got right there. We had a little bit of pullback. So here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. Now we'll see if it's going to be able, what it's going to do. I'll confirm this one. But we have the break and weakness on the RCS, on the RSI rather. And we're showing Swiss strength. This is on the 15-minute Swiss strength. Swiss is the second currency of the pair, strong to the downside. Looking at a possible break. Let's go to our 1-minute chart. Let's see what we have over there. There's a confirmation hit right here. That's the third hit. And now it's looking to, where'd that green line come from? Get rid of that green line because I don't know where it came from. It must have been from an old chart. We're getting a little bit of a break here. And let's see. Check something else out. US Swiss. Looks like it's trying to break out the bottom. It looks like this thing's going to go short. Here's a break. So I get my 2 pip area in here. Bring this thing down 2 pips.
I've actually got a pretty aggressive target on QEUS. I've got, because of the way that I drew my wedge, my second take profit is almost 50 pips to the downside. My first
Kiwi?
target, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if it plays out as the setup, but who knows?
Let's look to see where our moving averages are on this Swiss trade. Everything is down. All the 1 minute chart, everything is moving in the right direction. We have the crossover of the moving averages. Came down, tested it, came back up. It came back, tested, broke through the wedge, came back up. Now it's looking to try and break again. This would be the zone to enter to go short. And we have, let's see how it looks on the other time frames. All the moving averages in the right direction there. It's below the 30, so that's way below. So this is still going short, the way I'm seeing it, but it may come back up. If it breaks the top of the wedge, it's going to probably come up and retest that one. But right now it's below all of the moving averages. This one's trending down nicely. This one's trending nicely. We got the pullback hook, came up to the 62 on the 1 minute, rejected it, came back into the zone. Let's see if this thing will give us a few pips on the downside here. Let's see if I can get this thing to take a go market sell. This might be a little bit late here on this one, but we'll see what happens. Take profit 10, stop loss. Go with 10 pips stop loss.
That's quite a pullback.
On which one?
The Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Yeah, now it's going to bounce. It's got a trend line hit on the 1 minute, so we're going to see what's going to happen.
All right, now I'm going to keep my stop. We'll go back to the US Swiss. I'm going to bring this back up to kind of follow the 62 coming down and see if we can get our target. I'm going to go over to the higher time frame and see if I can find where the target zone is going to be on the, see if I can find anything off to the left here. I'm going to go to a higher time frame and see where price is right now, and still nothing on the 1 minute, on the 1 hour, 3 hour. This is where we are, still nothing on the 3 hours. We're talking a much higher time frame to find out where the bounce of this thing could be. This is trying to, it broke all the way, broke this one. Let's see what happened here. It may have been the head fake. There's a lot of, there's like, right here is the bottom of this wick. I'm on a daily chart, and this thing's all the way back to August. This is the low of August, so this thing could go ahead and reverse on us. Let's go back to our 15-minute chart and see where we're at here. We're hitting right at a higher time frame wick, the bottom of a wick. So there's a good chance this thing's going to bounce back up, and this might be the bottom of this. That's why you plan your targets before you get into the trade.
Yeah, it helps handle the emotions of, trading.
But this thing still seems like it still wants to go down. I think this is just a pullback. I think it's going to break that bottom.
Did you guys have a big 5-minute candle as well
Big 5-minute candle. Let's see. Well,
against you?
it was pretty against me.
Yeah.
Well, here was the break. Here was the alert. Here's the wick down, came back up, retested it, came back down, closed inside our zone. That was the short. My target, my stop should still be pretty much. I like to keep it above this red candle up there. If this thing comes up and reverses, then we could have a possible target up here. I'm not going to give this. If it comes up to retest this area right in here, then I'll get out and look for a reversal to come up and retest. This was a bounce off of, this was a daily pivot low way back in August is where that was. We'll wait and see if this thing comes up. If it comes up and crosses, if we get the cross here, then this thing's probably going to maybe go long to go to the upside. But right now I'm seeing it is at an extreme. We'll see if it retests. We do have we can look at this trend over here coming down. There's a high before the alert. Actually, we have this pivot high here. This pivot high right in here. It could come up and retest this channel.
Yeah. Let's see. That's a lot of blue candles on the Kiwi US.
I got stopped out.
Ah, you did, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. They're still making lower highs and lower lows. So here was the alert. Low. Here's a high. I'm going to flat top this. Actually, I kind of like this one a little bit better like this. So we had this, when you look at this where the alert was, we had a drop, came back up, based, dropped again. And let's go look and see what happens with this when it retraces. Here's a nice little retest. It had broke the wedge, came back up and back inside. It's forming another little wedge right in here. It hasn't broken the A. And we'll see what it does. If it breaks the A, it's going to go shorter. If not, it could just be bouncing to head up to retest.
Well, I'm going to say one more thing and see if see if the market's just totally gonna go against again. But anyway, what'll be interesting is to see what we get from. Well, overall NFP was a dud.
It was not an issue today.
Well, that's, and then as I say that, we'll see what happens with market goes all insane, but.
This is as low as the Swiss franc has got. The Swiss has gone to the dollar, or the strength of the Swiss to the dollar since August 31st, and beyond. Last time it was down at this level was way back in February.
Well, that's significant.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a Verizon commercial. I don't know if you have that. Do you have Verizon up by you, Matt?
No.
Oh, it's like the phone company. It's like one of their major
Yeah.
things. Like you keep on asking, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?"
You get the
Yeah.
commercials up there though.
Yeah, we do because we watch American television, but
Right, well, I
Now,
opened up a
80,
different old laptop.
8837. 8837 is the last range where the Swiss franc could go. 88, that's all the way down. That's way down here. Eighty-eight 37 to 87.58 is the, well, that's way down. That's a scary thought.
is it?
That's on a weekly chart back in.
Oh, a weekly chart?
It's
That's
a weekly
disgusting.
chart. There's a little, and there's a strong move up from that area. There was a little wick over wick. That was back in March of 09. Well,
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but can you see all but a tiny bit of Al's chart?
Yes.
There we-
Well, now it's more.
is that better?
Yeah.
We can see up to. I can see up to 0.9,000.
I'll show you what I'm looking at here on the higher time frame. I'm just going to tell you what, I'm going to keep the wedges here, but I'm going to take everything else off the other charts. That's unsynced. Oops. But okay, I'm just going to take everything off of this daily chart here, or this 15-minute chart. I'm going to move this into a so I'm going to go to my higher time frame here. I'm going to go to, if you look at a daily chart, you can see that, let me take this one off. This was the overnight low. This thing dropped on the Swiss. This thing dropped for the day so far. This thing's dropped 69 points. It broke. This was all the way back in September. It broke the September low. But if you see over here, there's nothing over here until you've got to go all the way to. I'm going to go to a weekly chart. And you still see there's still nothing until you get all the way over to here. So,
Wow, 2015.
yep. So if I'm going to go mark that, this is the low where it is right now. And if you look at the,
Holy crow.
here's a drop. Here it came back up. Here's a, on this blue candle, on this weekly candle. This is way back in January of 15. We have a little bit of a wick over wick right in there. I think the elections have an effect.
Yeah.
Never. There's no coincidences, Al.
No, I'm going to mark this weekly wick over wick. And that's a long way. I mean, we're looking at from where the price is right now to the top of where that wick over wick is. That's 159 pips.
Yeah.
No, see, that was at, what's the date on this? This is 19 January of 15. I'm going to go and put it on a daily chart and go to 2015 January. Go see what happens there. Spread this out and see what it looks like on a daily chart. Here's where it is. Here's the bottom of the daily candle. This could be the right there. See where that one goes. Go back to the beginning over here. See it may come down to retest this one first. I don't think there's anything else in between. Nothing here on the daily, so this would be, you could probably take it down to about like that maybe. Or at best here. That's the top, this is the red candle on the daily. It broke this daily candle on this move up. But from here, there's absolutely nothing stopping it. If I get to a 15-minute chart, there may be a little something there, possibly. I don't know if I can go down back that low or not. May not give me the data.
Yeah, it won't give it to you on the 15. Not that far back.
How about a 1 hour?
Doubt it. From when? 15?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a 4 hour. I think that's as good as it's going to get. You could try 1 hour. But that's a lot of 1 hour candles in
that is, yeah.
5 years, right? So 24 times 5 times 365. 15. It's too much. I think you get 1,000 candles back.
Well, there we go. Got a little bit of a. Here's the 4 hour wick over wick, but everything else is just a clear shot down here. I don't know if I get down there today or not. It might. It could. We're looking at. Let's go back to the price.
Well, after Kiwi took that move, it just hasn't moved at all. It's like dead.
This thing pretty much stopped too. It just sort of broke through that, broke through the bottom and it just sat there.
No pumping of nothing. It's just dead.
This is a nice, pretty strong little, this thing could really start trending on down. I think it may just be waiting to see what happens with the world events as it develops. We'll see.
As I say that, Kiwi US starts to move again.
Let's take a look at the Kiwi US to see where we're at with that one.
We'll see. I've got a nice trend line coming up at 67.95. So.
Kiwi US right over here. And let's see, where was the alert on that one? That was at 7:15. It's pretty much trading inside a range here. There's your box. That's the box that's trading in right now from the overnight low to the overnight high. It just seems to be trading inside this range right in here. We do have a little, we can draw a trend from the low. I'm going to take it to there. And if we draw a Fibonacci box around this area here, here's your upper 25%. Here's your lower 25%. The gray area. And right now it's retesting this area. So we're going to call this the supply area. And we'll call this bottom gray area the demand area. And that's where we are. If it breaks, it would have to break out of the top or the bottom before right now. Either if it gave you a reason to take a short, you may be able to try and catch this middle zone in here. And that range is basically, we've got 17 pips. Let's see where our fib lines are. Blue fib line here, red fib line here. Comes up, bounces. If it passes and check, you get a flip on the moving averages like you did up here. Here it flipped. Here it flipped. So right now where these flips are, we should have to flip right in this area. Actually right at the red line. I show you where the price is right now.
Sounds like someone's in a hospital. Deep, deep, deep.
Does anybody in the room have any questions, comments? Like to see something? Right now, we're pretty much range bound on the New Zealand USD, and we're at the upper part of the range right now. And you could see where it's actually forming. Here's a low, here's a high. Actually, here's a high, here's a low, lower high, higher low, lower high. And we'll see right now we've got a little bit of a trend going from this low to here. And we have another little trend coming down from the top. This is basically our wedge. But even if it breaks the wedge, it's coming right up into this area. It would have to, and this area is 6802 to 60. Let's see what's it.
Zeke. Zeke. Come.
That's about 8 pips.
No. Okay.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what. I don't know if I'd want to take it for the break. I would want to see a break out of this whole range before I would take it. So we're getting some little confirmation on a short on the New Zealand. Let's see what it looks like on the 1 minute. Got the crossover. And let's see how our RCS tool right now is showing New Zealand is strength on the only by 2 on the 15, by 4 on the 5, and then dollar strength on the 1. So we did have the flip over on the moving averages. Right now it's testing the 62. Right now I'm just looking at it trading inside this black area. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Anybody want to see anything in particular? Right now I'm looking that New Zealand's going to come down and retest that demand zone. Retest this bottom wedge to get maybe some confirmation on this wedge. It's looking like the US Swiss is reversing to the upside, bouncing off that 5-year low. Take a look at the Swiss. You can see right here, here was the low. It would have to go an awful long way down there with, but with such a strong move that we had earlier today. That was a big move. Lots of dollar weakness against the Swiss. Swiss is probably the most stable currency in the world.
Yeah, except November. Except in 2014 when it had a 1,000 pip move in one day without any retracement.
That was when that's when they went off the. What happened?
There was
I remember
a
the event.
major bank problem. Like there was some, I forget the exact deal, but it had to do with their central bank, and
Sort of
they
like going
had
off the gold. It's sort of like going off a gold standard or something like that. I think when they did that,
they wanted they were trying to inflate their price or something, and then the world said no, and then clobbered their economy. Something weird happened anyway.
Yeah, I do remember the event.
Like it's like a once in a lifetime kind of deal.
Right now, I'd be looking at this Swiss to kind of come up here. This is a 15-minute chart. I'd be looking at it maybe to come up here and retest this pivot high right here for this red candle. This is where this last move came from. That'd be at 90.08. See, the RSIs were coming out of the extreme area. Let's see if it comes up and retests the 89 on the RSI. Let's see how New Zealand's doing here.
It's
New
coming
Zealand's
back
turning
up.
around.
Yeah. It's coming back up aggressively. Let's see if it's going to slice through my trend line.
It's almost like a delayed reaction to the non-farm payroll report.
Yeah. As I just said that it wasn't, it was underwhelming. Yeah, that's a concerning candle.
It may also be that they just announced that Biden surpassed Trump in Philly.
Oh, that would do it.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
Yep.
So that means it's almost a guaranteed win for Biden.
Yeah,
Pretty
while
much.
the litigation doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They'll announce that Biden won before the end of the day. You can do just about bet on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Swiss showed the dollar weakness with anticipation that that Biden was going to get elected, and then as they got that report, they decided that taking the profits of that move and now moving it back to the upside where it probably should be in the first place.
Huh.
Yeah, that reported just like it was coming down and it came back up. Right
And
now,
we're talking like millions of dollars to be able to even move the market that much. We're not talking. This is not like your average Joe Blow with $1,000 trading account.
That's pretty much your central banks making their choices and their positions.
Yeah, because also the unemployment thing came out. It went down another percentage point.
The unemployment went down. In other words, people are getting back to work a little bit.
Yeah, 680,000 jobs were added last month.
Look at that.
And the best GDP we've had in half a century.
Half a century. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And you do these shenanigans. I'm sorry.
Well, it looks like we're coming up on 9th. Well, we got another 10 minutes. We'll stick around for another 10 minutes, and then we'll call this session over unless we have somebody else has something they want to add or discuss.
I think I'd be satisfied. I didn't get a winning trade today. Took a loss, but it is what it is. Non-farm
That's a
payroll.
small loss too for the day, Matt.
Yeah, it's okay.
It happens. Can't be a winner every time.
No, exactly. My loss was a little bit bigger than small, but because I stayed in it longer than I should have. My trading station is not entering stop losses properly.
That's weird.
It's really frustrating. I have to enter it like 4 times. So I will contact my broker and find out what's up. It's not just my phone doing it. It's actually my phone, MetaTrader 4 on my computer. I've tried everything. It's entering take profits though. So that's interesting.
Well, you'll have to find out
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that could be
you
quite
can't
dangerous.
Yeah, you don't play this game without a stop loss. You're just looking to really punish yourself and hurt yourself. Been there and done that too many times. Because for all intents and purposes, without a stop loss, you're risking 100% of your trading account.
Yep,
And I don't care what people say. Like some people are like, yeah, I don't trade with a stop loss. I'm like, yeah, what's your risk to reward? Like you can't really calculate nothing if you don't have a stop loss.
No,
You really can't you really can't calculate your profit factor or your
Nothing.
Yeah, your risk reward. You can't do it without that.
No, or anything really. You're not.
Or the risk is 100% and your reward is whatever you can get.
Yeah. So basically, you're a kamikaze pilot because eventually, it's going to come against you and blow your account. You're not going to be able to sustain that for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to be that right? You're like you can't. The odds are highly against you. Even the best traders I know, people that have been in it 17 years or whatnot, they still don't win every trade. They're highly profitable. So 90% of the time, 80% of the time, some really great traders, but they're always using stop losses. They're always mitigating their losses. And your goal as a trader is to mitigate your losses, get out early, and go for another swing. The longer you stay in something, the absolute worse it could get.
I go so far to even say that maybe the stop loss is the most important part of your trade.
Oh, God, yeah. So Kiwi US just broke to the downside. It went 20-some pips in the last 5 minutes.
And the Swiss is doing the same thing.
Yeah. So delayed, yes. That's not a normal move for that currency pair.
Well, I guess the markets are just opening too, I suppose, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
U.S. market. Well, not quite yet. It's getting close though.
8 minutes early.
They got the pre-market going on though, don't they?
The pre-market goes on. I think I'm not sure what time the pre-market actually is considered to start, but we've been trading the pre-market basically. I can see where this Swiss could come up and retest the 30-minute and the 15-minute 62 before the end of the day.
Yeah, the US has gotten really strong.
Yeah. How about the stock market? How's that doing? Yes.
Yeah, because it's about to open, right?
Yeah. Market's about to
9:30
open.
is your market open, so.
Now we'll see how high the Swiss can go here. I did reverse my position to go
You
long
did,
on
eh?
it. Yeah. Let's see, on the 5-minute chart, we have the trend. This got broken, but it's not real conclusive. This was definitely this definitely being a low here. Take all this stuff off. Take that off. Now we'll see it. It broke the upper parallel. Couldn't hold it. Right here, it came right up to this candle like I was projecting. I still like this trend line at the top here. Unconfirmed. If it comes up and tags it, then it'll be confirmation of this trend line. This is part of the overnight basing before the doing when the British markets opened, the London market opened. And see in the Kiwi, we'll take a look at the Kiwi one more time before we go. Came right down, touched it here. Right now, it's still trading inside this range right now. It did break this. This is more of the secondary wedge on this. High, low, lower high, higher low. Here's our wedge. Not really having any clear direction on this, other than it's range bound.
I'm not really trusting anything at the moment.
Nope.
It's moving around far too much.
And the Swiss, right now, the Swiss, I'd be looking more of buying pullbacks right now. See if we can break out of this channel. Let's see if we can find some range on this. Potential pullback on this from here to here is a pullback. 50% pullback of this last move. And the 100 to 78 is right up here at the upper parallel. And that's just about it for the day's fun and adventures.
Yeah, and the week, actually.
In the week, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done for the week, and really appreciate you guys showing up and participating and being part of the little community we've had here. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy it with your family, because life is short sometimes. Very short.
And again, thanks for everybody for coming. We'll see you Monday. Have a good
All right,
weekend.
take care.
Have a good weekend, all.
Stay
Bye,
green.
guys.